Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest transfer news. Now, Arsenal are amongst a few clubs who believe that Newcastle are in trouble in terms of finances, and they could be ready to offer Ramsdale in return for Bruno Guimaraes in a swap deal. That would be crazy. That has developed today. It has been reported today, so we'll discuss that. What's the latest on Mikel? Merino is looking very likely to be a second signing. Nketiah as well, a lot of drama there in terms of how much you're being offered. And then finally, Emil has finally joined Fulham on a permanent deal. He's moved on from Arsenal. I mean, I'll talk about him later, but he doesn't look happy. He doesn't look happy, right? This guy does not look happy at all. Listen, all the best at Fulham, but we'll discuss him later. But I saw that picture and I was like, this guy does not look happy. That is training today. He does not look happy. But hey, let's get to the breaking news, and that is in terms of Bruno Guimaraes and Aaron Ramsdale. So this is what Team News and Tix has had to report today. There are three clubs who believe Newcastle may still have financial issues. If this is the case, Arsenal may try to sign Bruno in a deal involving Aaron Ramsdale. Now, that would be very, very, very interesting. If we actually, if they actually have trouble with finances and they have to move him on, I'm sure Arsenal will definitely try and sign him as well. I don't think Arsenal will be the only team that would try to sign Bruno Guimaraes. You probably will hear Man City want him as well, especially considering we got Rice ahead of them last season and they couldn't get Paqueta because of everything that is going on. I still think Man City are looking for a midfielder there this season. Maybe in January or maybe next season, they're still looking for, an 80, 90 million pound midfielder. So they could try and sign Bruno Guimaraes as well. And I don't know which other team, maybe a Liverpool or someone like that, those teams would try to sign Bruno Guimaraes. Now, if they really do have to sell him, if they have financial problems, he's one of the players that they could sell to get a good significant money for either him or Alexander Isak. Remember, Alexander Isak is a player that you also want, but there's been talk about Alexander Isak obviously not leaving Newcastle. They've actually confirmed as well, saying even if they have financial problems, Isak is not one of the players they're looking to sell. So you're looking at players like Bruno Guimaraes, and maybe a couple of others. I don't think there's any player that is going to get them above 80 million apart from Bruno Guimaraes and obviously the player who I don't think is going to leave is Zach Gordon, maybe, but this is the main one. Now, Arsenal are ready to offer them Aaron Ramsdale. Remember, Newcastle wanted Ramsdale before. They were linked to Aaron Ramsdale before. He's a player that they did say they wanted before. I was actually thinking right after the transfer window opened, they would sign him immediately and maybe move on Pope because of the injuries or whatever. But no, that actually didn't happen. I think Newcastle have actually signed another goalkeeper. They want to get rid of Dubravka. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but I've also seen that we also linked to Dubravka, Newcastle's second choice goalkeeper. So we could have a swap deal there, but not in terms of Ramsdale and Dubravka. Arsenal, if that happens, Arsenal will be ready to offer Aaron Ramsdale to get Bruno Guimaraes in return. Now, that deal would be very good for us because we are going to get rid of a goalkeeper that, once first team football is not going to get it at Arsenal, we're going to get rid of a goalkeeper and then get in a midfielder. Personally, I think that would be good business. For me, my main priority at the beginning of the transfer window is to get a midfielder. We are going to get Merino, but I don't really see Merino as a number 6. So for me, over the next this transfer window, the next transfer window next year, we still need a number 6 because Pat is not going to be here by next season and Jorginho is not going to be here by next season. So we will need someone else to be in the number 6. So we'll need to sort out that position. So what does the future for us look in the number 6 area? Bruno Guimaraes could be the one. Now, he would cost a lot of money. Obviously, at the beginning of the transfer window, when you're being linked to Bruno Guimaraes, they're talking about 100 million or something release clause. That release clause has since expired, but even now, if you try to sign the player, they would still ask you for 70, 80 million. That is still a lot of money. But what if Ramsdale is involved in the deal? What can we do? How much can we offer on top of giving them Aaron Ramsdale? Now, if we go there and tell them 20 million baht plus Ramsdale, they're going to reject it very quickly. They'll probably ask for like 50, 60 million plus Aaron Ramsdale. And that is if they even want Aaron Ramsdale. It depends. If they're really, really forced to move on the player and they have financial problems and need to hit deadlines, then they will need to sell him either way. But the worry is it's not only us that is going to want him. We could offer Ramsdale, yes, that would be a good deal for us if we get a midfielder in return for a goalkeeper, because we already have a lot of goalkeepers. We can get another goalkeeper later on, a backup goalkeeper for Raya. I don't think Newcastle would accept that, especially if let's say we offered them Ramsdale plus 50 million and then Man City come in there and say, okay, 80 million for you. They're going to probably accept the cash because they already have Pope as a goalkeeper. I'm sure I saw them signing another goalkeeper a month ago or something. So they're not really desperate for goalkeepers unless Pope leaves and then, one of the goalkeepers gets injured. That's why they'll be desperate for Ramsdale. Would Ramsdale even start at Newcastle? So you also have to look at the player himself. The player has to want to go as well. Even if Newcastle say, you know what, Arsenal, yes, 50 million is fine. We are going to take the 50 million. You're going to give us Ramsdale. That is absolutely fine. Depends. If Ramsdale says, I actually don't want to go to Newcastle, I want fast team football, I want to stay at Arsenal, there's nothing he can do because he still has a contract there. You cannot chase him away. He's already not playing, so he'd be happy to be on the bench. I don't think so. I think he would want to go to a team where he's going to play fast team football. And I don't think it's going to be Newcastle. They still have a couple of good goalkeepers there. Dubravka is still there. Pope is still there. They've signed another goalkeeper. I don't think he's going to get fast team football there unless they offer him good money and he feels like, yep, this is good money. I'm going to go. Newcastle is a great position, place for me. I'm going to fight for my position. Then I'm going to get fast team football. No problem. That is fine. But this would still be a very tough deal to do. But it's good to know that Arsenal are still, trying to get Bruno Guimaraes either way. But I think that one is going to be very difficult because I know Man City are going to come in for him if he becomes available. Man City are definitely going to try to sign him as well. And in terms of that, it would depend on Bruno Guimaraes if that is the case in terms of choosing between Arsenal and Man City. Do you want to go and play next to Rodri, or do you think you're going to replace Rodri? Do you want to go to play next to Rice, or do you think you're going to replace Rice? The thing with Rodri and Rice has more years at Arsenal remaining than Rodri has at Man City. He's already been there for a lot of years. Rice has only been at Arsenal for 1 year, so I can only see like 2 years from Rodri at Man City and maybe 5-6 years for Rice at Arsenal, maybe even more. Who knows, depending on how everything goes in the future. But that's the latest on Aaron Ramsdale and Bruno Guimaraes, and also a potential swap deal. Let's see how that one develops. Is that a deal you'd be interested in? Let me know. Another midfield, obviously, that we're linked to, this one is edging closer and closer. According to reports from Ryan Taylor, Mikel Merino is understood to be excited by the prospect of joining Arsenal following private discussions with Mikel, in which the manager presented a detailed plan to the player about where he fits into his vision and tactical setup. So this is as good as done. Pretty much the player has chosen Arsenal ahead of Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. Is already happy to come and join the midfield that Arsenal have. The project that we presented to him, I don't know if we've told him, listen, you're going to be part of this midfield. Are you going to be a starter? Have we promised him to be part of a starting midfield next to these two guys, Declan Rice and Odegaard? I don't know. It could be the case. Maybe you've told him, listen, we can get a good 4 years from you. Partey, you're going to be here next season. You're going to be the guy to rotate with Declan Rice in midfield. Sometimes you could play as a 6. Sometimes you can play as an 8. This is what you're trying to achieve the next 2-3 years. We presented that offer and he said yes. So in terms of convincing players, that is really, really good. In terms of all these players that have joined us, so even those 3 that are on screen right now, I had Odegaard saying they were so convinced easily twice on loan and permanent deal, and Declan Rice as well, convincing him to join us ahead of Man City. That is crazy. It also helps that Merino has played with Odegaard before. Maybe he wants to, revitalize that midfield partnership that they had at Real Sociedad. So this one is looking very, very likely. I think this is a good deal. We are bringing in experience. You're bringing in a player who's just won the Euros, There's a kind of adrenaline you get after winning such big competitions. I'm sure he'll be ready to go once again and try to win more big things. He's never really won league titles and stuff like that. So he has a chance of coming to do that with Arsenal. Maybe I just told him, listen, you're the last piece of the in the puzzle that we need to win this Premier League. You're going to help us really a lot. And he's going to bring a lot of things to us, so including this, the duels that he's won. He won 326 duels last season. That is more than any player in the top 7 European leagues. That is crazy. More than anyone in the English Premier League, more than anyone in La Liga, more than anyone in Bundesliga, more than anyone in League, more than anyone in Eredivisie, all those leagues, more than all of them, all those players. And the only player to get over 300. That is crazy. So Arteta loves duels, and he wants a player who can, bully teams in the midfield. And if you have Declan Rice, and then you have Merino, and then you have Odegaard pressing from the front, and then on top of that you have the options of control with Jorginho and Partey, and then any other midfield that you're going to sign. It's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. I cannot wait for him to get this deal done. Again, it's very cheap as well, 30 million euros. I think that is a very, very good deal to get done with Merino. And the player is coming back from holiday over the weekend. So I think after that, we're going to move on quickly with him, and he will be joining Arsenal to reunite with Odegaard. As you can see there, they will be playing together again. So that is looking very likely to be a third permanent signing after David Raya and Calafiori. We obviously haven't seen Calafiori playing for us yet. It could be a very good treat for the ones who are going to be attending the Emirates Cup. You're going to see a couple of new players together. I'm expecting Calafiori to make his debut next week. And then for For this particular player, Mikel Merino, maybe the next Emirates Cup game after that. But exciting development. The fact that he wanted to join Arsenal, he definitely, has had private discussions with Arteta, and he fits into his vision. Absolutely perfect. I think we're going to talk about it more, break it down more after he signs for us, which positions he's going to play and all that. But next up, let's go to a couple of players who are leaving Arsenal, who have already left Arsenal. Nketiah. Now, this is the latest news from Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal reject today new proposal from Olympique Marseille for Nketiah. Understand proposal in the region of 27 million euros. That is 23 million pounds. Was still considered not enough to let Eddie leave. Olympique Marseille agreed personal terms with Nketiah, but still no agreement with Arsenal. So my first question for you guys is, let me know in the comments, how much do you think Eddie Nketiah is worth? How much do you think, if you are the director at Arsenal, how much would you be happy with? 15 million, 18 million, 25 million? Would you be like, no, 40 million, 45 million? How much money would you be looking for Eddie Nketiah? Because they are currently, we've just rejected a 23 million pound offer, and I agree with that. I would not sell Eddie Nketiah for 23 million. The other day they're talking about 20 million. That is too low. And for 23 million as well, I agree that that is too low. 23 million pounds, that is too low. No add-ons, nothing. That is too low. A team like Man United would be able to sell Martial for 40 million if he was not at the end of his contract. Chelsea with players like Gallagher. A good example is Duran at Aston Villa. Eddie Nketiah has done more in the Premier League than what Duran has done in the Premier League for Aston Villa. But Aston Villa want 50 million for Duran. So we're not even asking for 50 million, because Eddie Nketiah, however much Arsenal fans don't rate him, however much rival fans don't rate him, he's still done things in the Premier League before. He's scored goals in the Premier League before. He scored hat-tricks in the Premier League before. He scored hat-tricks for Arsenal. Done well from the under-18, under-21 for both Arsenal and England. So he's done things before. He's not the level that you want right now, but for any team taking him, he's not a 10 million pound player. He's not. So he's definitely going to come and score goals for you. I don't think he's going to go to Marseille and score 2 goals in a season. No, if he goes there and plays 38 games out of 38, I think he easily gets 15 goals for them. That is according to my opinion. So I don't think he's a player that you just throw away. Now, there's fans who are saying, maybe if we keep on pushing Marseille, they're going to walk away, and then we're going to be stuck with Eddie Nketiah. I feel like other teams will come in for him, because it's not just 1 or 2 teams that have said they are interested in Eddie Nketiah. No, so far this transfer window, we've had about 7, 8 teams. Leicester have not really made an offer yet, but you were told that they could be interested in him. You were told about teams like Wolves, Crystal Palace, all these guys have been linked to him. Marseille. So I'll not be wide. Marseille need a striker. It's not easy to get strikers out there. The strikers that we've looked at over the last 2 months, it is not easy to get a striker who's going to cost you, less than 30 million. Or stuff like that. So I think they will push it and try to get him. Now, you don't even have to pay us 23 million is too low. We're not even asking for 40 million. Personally, I'm not asking for that. You don't even have to pay, whichever money that you're going to pay for us, like right away. You can give us that at 23 million pounds and then throw in maybe 10 million in add-ons for next season or something. Then I'll be like, okay, that is fine. For me, I want 30 million. So if it's 23 million plus 7 million in add-ons, that is good business. If you don't have to pay us right now, if that is the problem, the money is the issue right now, give us the 23 million right now and then 7 million in add-ons next season, and I think that is a good deal. So yeah, we are ready to do business with Marseille. We are not refusing to do business with them, but just don't throw away a player and say, okay, I didn't get to give them for 12 million. No, the thing is, again, if we sold Eddie Nketiah right now for 10 million, there's some Arsenal fans who are going to come and start saying, we never sell players for good money. There's not too many players that we can sell right now. The only ones that we could sell, the likes of Nketiah and Smith and those guys, let's try and get 30 million for them and above, 30 million and above, because we're not going to sell the others. Saliba would cost 200 million, or Odegaard would cost more than 100 million. We're not selling those players. The ones who feel like we are ready to move on, we have to get 30 million plus for them, because we've always complained about Arsenal doing good business. I'm absolutely okay with Edu and the rest of the guys rejecting the 23 million pounds. You can add that. I'd like to know how much they paid for Greenwood. I'm sure it was more than that. So for me, 30 million pounds, and then we can talk from that. So Eddie Nketiah rejected the bid. Let's wait and see if they're going to make another bid. One player who's moved on for sure is now Emil Smith-Rowe. According to Fabrizio and Fulham and Arsenal as well, he's moved on for 27 million pounds plus 7 million in add-ons. That's 34 million package. That is absolutely fine. 7 million later on. If Marseille can also add another 7 million from Nketiah, I'd be happy with that. So Smith-Rowe said, listening to the project, speaking to the manager, I think it's an exciting project for me, and definitely the perfect right step for my career going forward. So wishing him all the best, Smith-Rowe. You know, over the last couple of years, obviously he hasn't really featured a lot because of injuries and other players getting ahead of him. Martinelli, you know, Declan Rice being signed in the number 8 position, Odegaard emerging as well over the last 3 years. So we never really got to see a lot of Emil Smith-Rowe. But him and Saka pretty much saved us at a point. And that is why Arsenal fans still have a connection with him right now. It's not because I've also seen comments saying, why are you guys loving Smith-Rowe so much? What has he done for Arsenal? That is wrong. In terms of what has he done for Arsenal, him and Saka pretty much saved the club. There's a time Arsenal looked like we were going to get relegated. There's an interview with Smith-Rowe and Nelson and those guys, and the interviewer told them, you know, you guys are broke through and Arsenal are about to get relegated, and Saka was like, relegated? That's the truth, though. That time you were really struggling. If you look at our results, you know, between 2020 and 2021 there, our results were really bad. Like, we were losing games at home and away, against Burnley, against Aston Villa, getting smacked around by Man City and Liverpool like we were terrible. But this guy, Smith-Rowe and Saka, emerged and they basically give fans something to be connected to. There's a time that team, we did not have too many players to get connected to. You know them, the defenders. If I had to ask you, are you really connected with Mustafi? Or are you really connected with Kolasinac? Or are you really connected even with Leno? Or are you really connected with who else? You know, even Bellerin, you know, that team there, the only players that people were connected with, we could say maybe an Aubameyang, because, you know, he was closer to the fans and all that, and maybe Lacazette, and that is it. People are not connected with Willian and guys like that. So Smith-Rowe and Saka emerged at a time where we were really desperate for, you know, someone to turn to in terms of the team, and someone to, you know, promise us, like, yeah, we have someone to develop in this team. And Smith-Rowe and Saka were exactly that, and they were really, really good for us. And in the very next season, he went on and got double figures in terms of goals. I remember his goal against Chelsea. I remember his goal at Old Trafford as well, Old Trafford, Stamford Bridge. That soon is really good. Those performances away at I think it was Norwich and Leeds as well. He scored very, very good, Emil Smith-Rowe. And over the last 2 years, doesn't really complain. You can tell he's a very, very proper Arsenal fan. He did not want to leave. You know, fans did not want him to leave, even though he hasn't even played the last 2 years. But eventually, it's a business. You have to get that money, and he has to move on. He's written such an emotional message on his Instagram, but wish him all the best. He's one player that I really, really want to go and I want him to go and smash it over at Fulham, for sure. I want him to go and do well. I want him to go and shine, you know, score the goals, assist, maybe not against Arsenal, but all those that this particular move, all those players that have left Arsenal, this is one that I absolutely hope that he does well. And listen, if he's not happy, we can go and make a 5 million bid to Fulham and bring him back to Arsenal tomorrow if possible. But all the best to Emil Smith-Rowe. He will be followed probably by Nketiah and Nelson. You're going to lose all three this transfer window, and then we will see which players we are going to get after that. Let me know about what you think about everything you talked about. Mainly, how much do you think Nketiah is worth? How much would you be selling Nketiah for? And yeah, that is the main question. And Bruno Guimaraes, would you be interested in that swap deal? Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on